Hey, what's going on, team? So, back from Ireland, had a great time, and I wanted to come out and be real with everyone because I think people think that, like, as nutrition coaches or people that try to maintain a certain standard as far as their shape and health, that's easy for them. And I need to come out and just be genuine and honest and say, I love food. I am a foodie. You know, there's nothing easy about necessarily staying within my boundaries. So I want to just kind of be real with everyone, talk about my diet disaster and how I would coach you to deal with it, how I'm coaching myself to deal with it. So first, you got to define, like, what is a diet disaster? Some people, like, they have one little slice of cheesecake that they fit into their macros and they're like, oh, it's a diet disaster. No, I'm going to define a diet disaster as going outside of my weekly caloric boundary with non-goal driven foods, okay? So not only did I go outside of my weekly, not daily, my weekly boundary, by about 10,000 calories. We'll talk about that here in a minute. So not only did I go outside of that boundary, but I did it with non-goal driven foods. What's a non-goal driven food? It's gonna be hyper palatable foods. So like sweets, alcohol is a non-goal driven foods. Fried foods is gonna be a non-goal driven food, okay? So that's what I define as the diet disaster, okay? So first is define it. What exactly is the disaster? Are you even in the middle of a disaster or not? The second D once you define the disaster is we need to know the magnitude. Now here is one so critical that you do this if you're gonna have a planned or unplanned diet disaster, is you wanna continue to keep your process running. What do I mean by your process running? You need to make sure that you're logging everything that you're taking in, good, bad, ugly, and you wanna try to do that in real time. That is so key, because think of it this way. Say you get pulled over and you have no clue how fast you're going, and the cop just is like, yeah, you're going 50 over. And you're like, no way, there's no way I was going 50, but you don't know. So you gotta keep your process rolling. So when you're in the midst of a diet disaster, continue to write everything down that's going into your pie hole. That is so key, so that when the disaster is done, you know if you're dealing with, a grade 3 hurricane or a grade 5 hurricane. So that's so important from an assessment standpoint. All right, so define the magnitude, and to define the magnitude, you need to keep your process running of real-time tracking. So my magnitude, and I haven't done it all yet because it's only Saturday, we have another day left, but it looks like it's gonna be about 10,000 calories that I went above and beyond what my body needed. So that's about 3 pounds of fat gain that I chose to put on. That's kind of the cool part, is there's no guilt here, there's no like, oh man, body shaming. It's like, hey, I chose to do this, I chose to do it, wouldn't take it back. And now the third D is how are we gonna deal with it? Well, what most people will do to deal with it after they've done the assessment and everything is they'll just go into like huge restriction again and be like, oh my gosh, this is horrible. Okay, and then that kind of causes that metabolic up and down. It kind of gets more psychologically, your relationship with isn't food. It's kind of like that yo-yo. So look, for 3 pounds of fat, yes, I am tempted to be like, okay, I'm gonna fast for 3 days, gotta get this fat out. No, I'm gonna keep my process going, and I'm gonna say, okay, I'm gonna get this body fat off in about a month. Okay, so that'd be a mini cut, but nothing like crazy aggressive, because that's where your psyche is going to want to go. It's going to want to be like, oh my gosh, I had this diet disaster, and it's going to want to stop following your normal process and manipulate stuff. Try to resist that urge. So hey, 3 pounds of fat gained, I'm cool. I'll take that off in the next 3 or 4 weeks, not a problem. And yes, I said weeks, not days. When dealing with it, you've got to be real and honest with yourself. Okay, you just got to be very real, very honest. But no shame, be patient, and own it. All right, own it 100%. Take full responsibility. Now, the cool part is a lot of these non-goal driven foods are very inflammatory foods. So even just by getting back onto your normal goal-driven nutrition, which our ethos is a lot of anti-inflammatory foods, you're gonna drop a lot of that initial bloat, initial weight. I mean, I just did a workout and it was kind of cool. Like, I do feel like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, but I can start seeing a lot of that bloat start to work its way out and so forth. So kind of cool to see that, kind of motivating. But yeah, so those would be the 3 Ds. Define the disaster, okay? Then define the magnitude of it. All right, okay, how much of how large is the magnitude? How much fat did we actually gain? And again, to do that, you have to keep your process running. This whole thing kind of falls apart if you don't know. If you look back and you're like, I have no idea what we ate, so always try to track in real time. Another cool thing, if you look at a lot of the habit science out there, and James Clear has put some stuff out there, that when you track in real time, you subconsciously eat less. And I know that there was probably times, because I was tracking in real time, where I was just like, subconsciously, I didn't choose. I wasn't like, oh my, I'm committing a diet disaster right now, I need to stop. No, I committed. I knew I was going to commit a diet disaster because I love food. I particularly love the food in Ireland, But just because I was tracking in real time, I know that there was some subconscious acts or some foods that I didn't eat, or eat more of certain foods, just because I was tracking in real time. So that is absolutely huge, okay? So you're gonna have the tendency, if you do go off plan or non-goal driven for a day or a weekend or whatever, you are gonna wanna have that tendency to not track. You're gonna wanna, because you just don't wanna know. Resist that tendency and say, hey, it's okay. Hey, it is totally okay. I'm just gonna know the magnitude and I'm gonna deal with it. Awesome. So again, just being real, I love food. Sometimes it doesn't happen extraordinarily often because I'm trying to not allow this to happen, but sometimes even us coaches, we get into these diet disasters where we just say, give me another whatever it is, fish and chips or whatever it happened to be. So we're all in this together. We're all getting better at it together. Hopefully this is helpful for you. If you do see, you just have one of those weekends where you're like, what, I don't want to worry about staying goal driven. I don't have an event coming up in the near future or whatever it might be. But yeah, be okay with that psychologically, but also be responsible and follow the 3 Ds here. Have an amazing Labor Day weekend. You guys be safe out there. Try to stay goal driven. Remember, needs before wants. So try to balance those non-inflammatory foods if you plan on eating some inflammatory foods this weekend. Awesome.